Hello. Edible Valley Podcast. I'm William Stringer.
And I'm Chef Jonathan Frazier, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about some young grub. Mama! Do you ever wonder where your food comes from? That's what got us started on this adventure.
In each episode, we ask experts to weigh in on the food topics that matter to you, from growers to producers to chefs.
And I challenge John, Darren, and you to learn more about your food and the stories behind it. From our hub on Vancouver Island in the beautiful Comox Valley, join us as we explore our edible valley.
Hello there. This is the Edible Valley Podcast. We're jumping straight into this with something that we both sort of have an idea about. We've both got children, but
we do. Correct. Yes.
But it's not per se. None of this is advice. We're going to have to put one of these kind of horrific, what would you call it? Like a warning. Don't take anything we're saying as advice, medical advice. We don't know. We're not experts, but we come at you from two fathers. One bloody good chef and one not bloody good chef that adds cheese to everything.
But one who's in the middle of experiencing it right now.
Exactly.
And one who's, my daughter has made it to the age of 16 now. Yeah. So I did something right. Well, maybe her mother did something right.
Yeah.
But we made it through the beginning stages. So that was always the toughest bit of parenthood.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we're coming at for this one this week is that we're going to talk a bit about baby food.
Yeah. So, how do you want? I've got a lot to to talk about for this. I'll start. We've got little baby Penelope. It's going on 8 months soon. And the first thing for me was when Eva was saying, well, we need to put her into baby foods, get her with baby foods. A couple of things. One, I just thought baby food was just a jar of something that probably said Heinz on it, and you buy it from Walmart, and you spoon feed it, and they'll know what a spoon is automatically. They'll grab and you feed it yourself into their mouth, and they eat it, and they're like, "Oh, that was nice."
Yeah,
and that's it.
Is that how it works?
No. What did you think it was back in the day?
I had no idea what I was getting in for. I was a little naive to the whole situation, and I was a little terrified about the whole situation. So
it is terrifying.
It is just one of those things that you're kind of like, I don't know what to do.
Well, so first of all, a baby doesn't know how to swallow. You hand them food, they don't know what to do with it. They haven't got any teeth to chew.
Of course.
And you have to give them sometimes things, or we have. Again, I'm going to put that proviso. You don't have to do anything. My only qualification is she's still alive.
That's right.
and doing very well. But, if you just give them food that is mashed up, then at some point they're going to have more solid food, and they're not going to have the knowledge of, how to eat something like that. And then you're going to see them choke. And so what do you do? We have given her small bits of solids, and now she knows... Like she can cough and she can go, and then we go, as in telling her to spit it out. And we've kind of got there. But going back, what it is we make the food. Eva's a fantastic mother. So she gives her a balanced diet. She has an allergy sheet, which we're gradually ticking things off. And Penelope does not know how to automatically eat food, so we've had to teach her. And we've also done something called baby-led weaning, which is where you do not feed the food into her mouth, like, here comes the airplane, that kind of style. We do not do that.
Okay.
We put the spoon down in front of her, and she picks it up, and anything that goes into her mouth is through her
voluntarily.
Now the good thing about this is it's on their own terms, and they truly do learn. The bad thing is 99% of it is on the floor, on her face, going down her aim is gradually getting better, but it takes time. So that's been our experience so far, and her poo stinks as well.
You know what I would like to say?
So add that in there.
That was my exact experience too.
Yeah.
most of the food is going to end up on the floor.
Yeah.
Usually when I cook, most of the food ends up on the floor too.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit of just a situation.
Weird, isn't it? So ever since we started feeding her food, the cats have put on weight. Isn't that weird? I wonder if there's a connection.
The joys in having a dog, right? Okay, yeah. So let's get into some of these things. So like, yeah, as you were talking about, there's a whole transition.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. Like
Yeah.
children need time to progress into it. So a lot of people start off with a lot of smoother texture things and sort of build up till you
Yeah.
get to that point that you have something that's nice to eat on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can't just always do mashed up puree. Obviously, at first, that's what you're going to do, but you can't always be doing that.
Yeah. And it's funny to think about that. We've been doing this throughout history. Like they've got, they've looked back at history and there is actually evidence, historical records that say like the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans all fed their infants soft and mashed foods.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's something that we sort of, we work to, right?
I did wonder, because when you're actually in this situation, you learn, well, she hasn't got any teeth. How's she going to chew stuff?
Mm-hmm.
But then if she only ever has puree, then how will that transition back out of it? I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, Eva spends a lot of work learning this, preparing things, getting things ready.
Yeah, and you're, as you were saying, you brought up about allergies and stuff like that. That's an excellent point, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's as part of this, taking your time to bring in these new foods and stuff like that, is to sort of slowly introducing to see if there's any reaction. Because if you throw everything at the kid at once, it's like, whoa. You
want to hear a story?
I would love to hear a story.
So I'm a real estate agent. I'm a realtor, as you know, because I'm your realtor.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm more kind of introducing it to the listener there.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. No, so we did something wrong in terms of giving Penelope food, because we decided to give her peanut butter, which is probably, you'd argue, the biggest allergen or the most serious. And we wanted to test it. Right, let's for once and final give her peanut butter. We're ready for this one. If anything happens, ready to rush up to hospital. It's only a quarter mile up the road.
We can do this, yeah.
We decided to do this when I was in the last 20 minutes of a contract negotiation. Now, if I just walk away at this point, the contract is dead and my buyers do not get their house. The other people win. A contract has an expiry date, and if it's not signed by that date, the contract's dead. It's not legally enforceable anymore. And we decided to give her peanut butter when I was 20 minutes away from this contract date. And all I needed was my buyers to come up with a signature, but I needed to be present. And we gave her, and she did start coming out in hives.
Oh,
her
dear.
lips started getting bigger.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what do I do? No, if she wasn't breathing, I wouldn't have thought twice. We would have been away.
Right.
But she seemed fine. She seemed happy. Her lip wasn't, but she was coming out in hives. Mm-hmm. So I ended up taking my laptop with me. We were taken straight into the emergency room. She was fine. I could tell Penelope was fine. She was breathing fine. And I was like, well, what do I do? You know, I'm quite a new realtor still. And I can't just walk away from a deal. So anyway, in the end, it was okay. But I did say to the doctor, oh, sorry, I thought the doctor would be all right with this. I said, sorry, I'm on the computer. Last 10 minutes of a deal. And he looked at me like I was scum. Really? Your daughter is in the literal emergency room and you're on your computer? It looked terrible. So you live and you learn. Do not give her an allergen for the first time when you really need to be doing something else.
Yeah, no, that's a great great lesson to pass on to pass on for sure, because who knows, right?
Yeah.
Rather be safe than sorry. Oh man, this is like I'm sort of like, I don't even know where to start at, and I'm trying to remember back to my old stories with my daughter, and I just remember all those different, just slowly introducing different foods to her. And then we got into the point of doing the whole difference between whether making your own, or whether buying store-bought.
What do you do?
You know what? I tried doing a lot of home.
As you're a chef.
As I am a chef. So it was a lot of, and I bought a lot of gimmicky little things, not knowing that I had the correct tools to use, which I should have been using in the first place. So,
I mean, it stands to reason. Now, we are actually, as we speak, Eva is shopping for canned or jarred baby food. And the reason for that is because we've got to the point now where she is so restricted in what she can do that she wants to have the option occasionally of feeding her out the jar. But she did a lot of research to find, not just a big brand. It needs to be just top quality, and something that's pure. That we're not just giving our daughter processed stuff.
Right.
But I don't really have an opinion on that other than I think it stands to reason that we make fresh for her. But I'm sure you can get store-bought that is very, very good if you shop well.
Well, and that's it. And there are some bonuses with store-bought stuff is because a lot of them can have enriched nutrients into them as well, right? So you can have sort of added iron, calcium, and vitamins so that you can increase the baby's intake.
I mean, I'd argue that just tampers with the natural order of things, and that the best way is just to do it as nature. I mean, if you
I agree
walk down the
100%.
cereal aisle at the supermarket, every single one of them says infused with this, that, and the other, and that's only because it's had everything taken out of it, and they put it back in, and it's just like, what? It's never going to be as good. You need to stick to nature.
That's why I got to a lot of myself when we're doing a lot of home base or home cooking for Michaela at that time, because we would take all these great ingredients. So I'd bring in like some yams and I would steam them up. And I'm going to give you a recipe later about steamed yams, which is a great way to go. Super easy. We'll even probably do a little live video of
that's something
it,
that
right?
we're doing now at the end of every podcast. I say every one of them. A lot of them. Time myself into this. But yeah, you head over to our Facebook page and you will watch a live with us doing whatever we've told you we're doing on live. And today it's going to be the baby food. What are you doing?
Well, I was saying, since we're talking about that, why don't I just read out this little
Do you want the recipe now?
Yeah, we can just throw out
let's
this
do it now.
really
Cool.
So really easy, and you can prep this up ahead of time. But get like two medium-sized sweet potatoes would be a great one. You could also do this with yams.
Okay.
And then a little bit of water for steaming. Basically, you can peel and wash the sweet potatoes and cut them into uniform pieces, right?
Okay.
Just that makes it easier for them to steam and they'll all be done at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same principle as cooking anything, but and then you can just place them. I mean, a steamer basket is a great way to do it over boiling water, or even if you want to do the microwave way, you could do them in the microwave where you could just put a little bit of water, cover them with a lid, and do that way. And it usually takes about like steam for probably like 15 to 20 minutes, just basically till you can put a fork through them, right? And so they're nice and smooth and tender. And then you can take them off and transfer them into a food processor or a blender. Give them a zap, and then I would have a little bit of a liquid to add to that. So if you wanted to do milk or water, you could use even breast milk would be suitable, or you could do formula in
Means
there.
I can't taste any though. Although could I? I mean, a lot of people say fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, so you could add those into there, and then you get a nice, consistent, smooth consistency, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. And then you allow it to cool, and now you can store this in the fridge for like 2 or 3 days.
Nice.
No problem.
Nice
sealed container. Or you could even put them into an ice cube tray, which would be a great way.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so you can cube them all up, put them in the
Job
freezer, and then when you want one, you pull it out and just heat it up again.
Easy.
And then basically once it's cooled down to a nice body temperature, you can feed it, and hopefully you can just, as you were saying, just put it down there in front of them, and then we'll just dive into it. So
And you're going to make one of them for Penelope later on.
I will definitely do
Live.
that. We'll have some food for her. Definitely.
I love it. Right now, we are rapidly running out of time. So let's keep on moving through this. How, what would you say to allergies?
Well, allergies is definitely, let's slowly introduce. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Most experts recommend, like definitely things like peanuts or eggs are just a great way. You know, there's such things as kiwis and strawberries.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of throwing those in one at a time. I remember one of Michaela's favorite thing, and which probably ended up on the floor the most, but was just avocados.
Oh, now Penelope doesn't love them, but she loves bananas.
See, there's another great one, right? So just those nice soft fruits, you can mash them up with a fork
Yeah.
and stuff. Just put them in front of them and give them a chance to eat them.
So it is important. You can download on many websites like a matrix that has these foods, and then you can actually document, right, she's okay with that, and just keep that going like that. I mean, I remember we did that, and it was a much easier way of keeping track. And of course, not mixing allergens, because, I mean, what do you do? What if she starts getting hives? You don't know which one it is. So, yeah, just to be keen to do that.
Excellent. Yes.
So, transitioning beyond that, what would you say? So once you've got your baby foods, you're doing this and it's working well, and they've worked out how to choke and things like that, which is not a nice sensation to watch, by the way.
How they've learned not to choke. I think that's what you're shooting for.
Yeah, no, but you want them to learn to choke.
Yes, I guess.
I mean, this is another thing, actually. So we've done a baby first aid course.
Okay.
You absolutely have to do this before you even start, before they've had their first meal. You need to know what to do if they don't manage to choke. I mean, I learned so much from that. If you hear them choking, they can breathe. If you don't hear anything, they can't breathe. So if you don't hear anything, it is a real problem. If you hear them, it's a problem, but they can breathe. Otherwise, you wouldn't hear them making any noise. But all of these things, you need to have a baby first aid course before you do any of this. I mean, I'm imagining anyone listening to this will have probably walked this path or have nothing to do with kids, or maybe about to have kids, and all this will be building up. But,
yeah,
you know, there it is. It's all of it was news to me 6 months ago.
And 16 years ago for me.
All right.
Well, I feel like, it's one of those things I think a lot of people get scared about. And I mean, your goal is just to get some good, nutritious food into your child.
Yeah.
Because that's just going to make them grow up, make them stronger, and make them better people all around, right? Like,
I mean, final angle I'd look at this at is what you want your child to see you doing. Because we've got a sweet tooth. I like crisps. We've already discussed this. Do we want her to see us snacking on all the awful foods?
It's true.
We don't.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely not. So that's another angle to look at it from, is what do you want her to see, and where do you do it? You know, we eat around a dinner table now. We eat our dinner together with her being fed and us, because we don't want her to see us eating in front of the TV. That can lead to a dysfunction where when you watch TV, you eat. That can lead to all sorts of things. And we also want her to see us eating healthy green foods. So it's a really good inspiration.
I think you're going back to something that we always talk about here on the Edible Valley, is just sharing meals together.
Yeah.
And really even if you're not eating the same food,
yeah, you
can at least share together,
yeah.
right? So yeah, having those experiences and sitting down with your child while they're eating and while they're learning to eat is it's not only like great experience, but it's also very entertaining, if you ask me, for sure.
It is really fun. And if you ever are in a situation where you don't know, I mean, these days there's so much advice out there, but I can say, if you've got a friend that's had a baby and they're decent parents, I mean, go to them. I mean, they'll give you a wealth of advice. Yeah.
And a lot of it too is don't try to force things that don't work for you. I feel like, I'm going to go back to like a lot of my experiences, just being like with my daughter. She's turned out as a wonderful human being, and we had some difficulties in the beginning with her feeding. She wasn't latching properly, so it was a bit of an issue.
We had the same.
Yeah, and it's just issues. A part, and the thing is just to make sure that there's food in your child's stomach. So try and do it the best way you can possibly.
It's true. Yeah, babies have been alive for many, many years, and we haven't always had the technology and the information we do now. So, Eva is a very attentive mother, and she's always worried and always trying to make sure that we're doing the best thing. But, you don't need to worry. That's all I want to say. I mean, I think it would have been great, actually, if we had a girl or a lady on this podcast.
A mother is what we're talking about. A mother,
there we go. Yeah. That's the word.
This is definitely baby food for dads.
Yeah, I mean, probably we should have put that proviso out there. But there we go. This is where we are. And Eva is an immensely attentive mum, but she worries so much. And sometimes I think, you know what, you're doing a great job. And people have done a lot of the same stuff, but with a lot less before. And it's just like, people can just relax a little bit, I think, and as long as you're there and attentive and present, a lot of it's going to come naturally.
Yeah. And, it's like creating your different foods, and you can take a lot of foods you eat yourself normally and just keep them. Don't season them as heavy, and don't, keep them as simple as possible.
True that.
I think children have a bit more taste buds than us adults, because, as a child, there's so many things I used to love that I can't do anymore. And so many things I love now that I would never touch when I was younger. So.
All right. Well, that was an interesting one. We would really love some communication with anyone who is interested in this as well on Facebook.
Yeah, definitely. And feel free to email us and tell us your stories about baby food and some experience of how things work for you. We're always interested to see on how other people's experience in food and how they got to the place where we are. I mean, we can probably do another episode down the line once we get a little bit more experience from people. Then you will have a lot more experience, I know, moving forward here. So
yeah, we're only 8 months in.
You've only got 4 teeth right now, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Adorable 4 teeth, but only 4. Yeah.
Yes. We had a beautiful evening where we actually sat with you guys the other day.
Oh yeah, Land and Sea. What a wonderful pub that is.
Yeah, we had the 4 of us there and had some chips, and she was delightful and such a wonderful little girl. So.
She just, thank you. I love her. All right, well, thank you very much. It's been another episode of the Edible Valley podcast. I'm William Stringer.
And I'm Chef Jonathan Frazier, and thank you for listening.
Cheers.
And that wraps up another episode of the Edible Valley podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and a special thanks goes to the local businesses that help support our podcast. They make it possible for us to showcase your local food community. We'd love you to follow us on your preferred social media at Edible Valley, where you can check out our blog, find recipes and tips, behind the scenes, and of course keep a lookout for where we are going to turn up next in your Edible Valley.
Do you want to press record this time?
Yeah, that's record. Actually, let's make sure I can hear you save it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
Will.
Hey, when we just start this podcast differently every time.
That's right. So.
Well, hello, Edible Valley podcast. I'm William Stringer.
And I'm Chef Jonathan Frazier, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about some
Edible Valley production.
Yeah. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, ready again?